Ei, gente, tudo bem? Vamos falar sobre o subjuntivo? So we have learned two modes, the indicative mode, the imperative mode, and now the subjunctive mode. So the subjunctive, when do you use it? You're going to use it when you have two clauses and you want to express wishes or emotion or a hypothesis, okay? So a hypothetical situation. So we are going to start with verbs that indicate wish, okay? So this is what I want you to remember. You need two different subjects because I can say, for example, I can express wish like this. I want to travel. I suggest staying here. But when I say I suggest you stay here, I suggest he stay here. This is the subjunctive, okay? So this is what we are going to see how it happens in Portuguese. So first of all, the form. So very important for you to know where the mood, where the subjunctive, the present subjunctive originates. So it originates in the first person singular of the indicative mood, okay? So if you think about the verb falar. So in the present indicative, you, the first person singular is what? Eu falo. So what you're going to do? So this is the behavior for all AR verbs. So you're going to remove the O of the first person, and then you're going to add these endings here, okay? I, emos, em. So, and you notice here, que eu fale, que você fale, que nós falemos, que eles falem. So native speakers, when they're learning the conjugation of the subjunctive, this is how the conjugation tables come. They already come with que, because this is going to be the word that introduces the dependent clause. And remember that the subjunctive is always in the dependent clause, never in the main clause, okay? Então, que eu fale, que você fale, que nós falemos, que eles falem. With ER verbs, verbos em ER ou IR. So, exemplo, eu como, so the verb comer. Remove the O, you always remove the O of the first person in the present, okay? And you are going to add a, amos e ão. Então, que eu coma, que você coma, que nós comamos, que eles comam. O verbo abrir, IR verb. Que eu abra, que você abra, que nós abramos, que eles abram. Lembre-se, o subjuntivo sempre vai estar na oração subordinada. So the subjunctive will always be in the dependent clause, okay? In Portuguese, you say subordinada, subordinate, okay? Então, você precisa ter duas orações, cada uma com um sujeito diferente. So you need two clauses, each one with a different subject. Por exemplo, eu recomendo que vocês estudem todos os dias. So you see that the verb in the main clause is in the presente do indicativo. Eu recomendo, I recommend. So this is in the present indicative. And the next one, que vocês estudem. So you see why you conjugate the verb with que, because the dependent clause is introduced by que, ok? Então eu recomendo que vocês estudem todos os dias. So you see that you have different subjects. I recommend you study every day. So you have two different subjects. The verb in the main clause is in the presente do indicativo, and the verb in the dependent clause is in the presente do subjuntivo. Why? Because you are using a verb that indicates what? A wish, okay? And we are going to look at some other verbs that behave like this, okay? So, para expressar desejo. So you are going to use the present subjunctive to, so the first use is to express wishes, okay? So, verbos que geralmente usamos. So these are the verbs that indicate wish. So, o verbo querer, to want, recomendar, to recommend, sugerir, to suggest, preferir, to prefer, pedir, to ask, aconselhar, to advise, esperar, to hope. So it's the same thing. I can use the imperative. I can say, stay here. Or I can say, I recommend you stay here. I suggest you stay here. I prefer you stay here. I ask you to stay here, okay? So these are just different ways of saying the same thing, okay? A oração subordinada vem depois desses... A oração subordinada que vem depois desses verbos tende a estar no presente subjuntivo. So as we saw, the clause that comes after this clause that contains these verbs, one of these verbs that indicate wish, the verb has to be in the present subjunctive. So the verb querer. Eu quero que você me ajude. I want you to help me, ok? Eu quero que você me ajude. A Vanessa recomenda que nós estudemos todos os dias. Let's see some other examples. Nós esperamos que eles cheguem na hora certa. So we hope they arrive on time. O médico aconselha que façamos ginástica todos os dias. The doctor advises we exercise every day. Eu prefiro que você venha ao meu escritório na parte da manhã. I prefer you come to my office in the morning. Eu preciso que você me ajude com esse problema. I need you to help me with this problem. Nós desejamos que vocês sejam muito felizes. We hope you are happy, very happy. And so we can use these verbs that indicate wish, querer, recomendar, preferir, pedir. Or we can use one of these expressions that are also followed by the present subjunctive. Guys, this is a rule, okay? If you have one of those verbs of wishes in the main clause, the verb in the dependent clause has to be in the present subjunctive. And here, é bom que. So it's good that you do not use the phone because Vanessa gets angry. É importante que entendamos as explicações. It's important we understand the explanations. É melhor que estudemos tudo para a prova. It's better if we study everything for the test. É importante que tenhamos tempo para estudar fora da sala de aula. It's important we have time to study outside of class, okay? So this is the first we use. We are going to see 3 different verb groups that require the use of the subjunctive. So now you have to remember the verbs that indicate wish, okay? And remember, you must have 2 different subjects, and you must, the subjunctive is always going to be in the dependent clause, okay? Ok, gente, obrigada.